Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today, I want to talk about the Walmart brand refresh. There's been a lot of people laughing about it on social media. Um, and it's one of those things where, depending on how you look at it, you can make the argument that it's the dumbest thing you've ever seen, or you can make an argument actually that it's absolutely brilliant. So, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, let me give you a quick look. Go ahead and share my screen here. Okay. So this here is the existing Walmart logo, or sorry, Walmart type face or watermark. And here's its current logo. And for all those who haven't seen it, here is the grand reveal. Ready for this? Ta-da! They took the word mark and went from a bold to a very bold, and they changed the hue of the blue. They made it a slightly darker, slightly richer blue. Same way for the logo, they went from a they changed the color as well to match the new font color, and then for the middle part of the logo, the spokes, they made them a little larger, a little more rounded, a little thicker overall. Basically, they effectively made them an ultra bold as well, if you will. And they also, once again, modified the hue of the yellow. Well, if you follow marketing at all, you will see that social media was a buzz today with the biggest thing was you can't tell the difference. And well, there's something to be said for that. If you were not told that there was a Walmart refresh, would you even notice it? My guess is most people wouldn't cognitively recognize it and go, oh, hey, Walmart updated their brand. So that then begs the question, and lots of people said this is, does it make sense or is it a waste of money? Well, my thought is it's actually not the worst brand redesign ever because it is so similar to the original. They aren't going to confuse anyone. Don't forget, Walmart's a very well established brand. It's one of the largest companies in the entire world. You don't want to do anything dramatic with the brand. If you do, you run the risk of confusing people and losing business through it. Had they completely changed the colors away from blue and yellow, for example, people might not recognize their Walmarts as easily. They might think that the company is a new company, that it's changed somehow, that it was sold or acquired. And anytime there's a change in a company, that scares people because they go, oh no, prices are going to go up. That's the first thought that comes to people's head when they see a big change in a company is, oh no, what's going to happen to what I know and love? Well, Walmart, their rebrand here is subtle enough. Sorry, not rebrand, but refresh, their brand refresh. It's subtle enough that it's not going to cause confusion. No one's going to see the new word mark or the new logo and go, oh, is this still Walmart? So then the question becomes, well, if it is so subtle, why do it at all? Well, a couple of things there. One, I think from a social psychology perspective, it actually, in a human behavior perspective, it's actually a good refresh by becoming a little more vibrant in their colors, a little brighter in their colors, a little bolder in their form. They're going to stand out slightly more, and they pop off the page a little better. If you were to look at this, these images right here, the first and the second, my guess is if you didn't put a before and after, my guess is if you showed these to the general public, you'd probably have a 50-50 on which one people thought was the original, which one people thought was the new, because no one would be able to tell. But I think if you were to ask them which one is their preference, I think 80 to 90% of people are going to select the new one, the refresh. Why is that? It's brighter, it's more vibrant, it's happier, it's bolder. So let's take another look at this. And the look I want to take here is at the stores themselves, how they've changed. So let me go ahead and change my share here. Oops. What? I'm going to pull up how this looks on the stores. So on the store itself, this is right here, billboard on the front of one of their stores, the original one. It's obviously very clear, very clean. It's the what we've all known forever. Walmart. It's got the six spokes on the right in their traditional yellow, but the traditional blue background. This one with the white typeface. If we now switch over, here's what the new stores are going to look like. Well, once again, taking a look at this one, what do we see? Well, it's once again more vibrant. It pops more. If you look at this versus this, you will see that the blue really stands out and the yellow against the blue has a greater contrast now that the colors are more vibrant. Why I think it's good, and it's a good refresh in this sense, is their old style, the original style. I always thought this every time I went to a Walmart is it looked faded. It looked like they needed a paint job. It looked like their colors were a little washed out. And that, whether from a psychological perspective, will make you take pause and go, oh, is it old? Is it brings your, when you see faded, washed out, or your mind triggers thinking faded, washed out, that also triggers the thoughts of dirty and old. And so I think with the new logo and font, I think there's going to be less of that. This looks very vibrant. It stands out. You look at that and go, wow, that's bright. Bright and vibrant makes you feel, happy, clean versus, dirty, old, right? It looks new. It looks fresh. Now, is this a huge deal? Is this going to change the nature of Walmart's business? No, it's not. But I'm going to do one more look here, just side by side. And let's see here if I can get this to work. Let's just go ahead and remove that and do it again. Well, here we go. So now, if we take a look at the two side by side, on the left's the original, on the right is once again the refresh. If once again, I think if you are going to do a survey and you ask people in the general public, which one do you prefer? The majority of people are going to pick the right because it's brighter. And once again, that initiates feelings of happiness, of cleanliness, of excitement. It's positive emotion you get from brighter things. Now, without the comparison, will that necessarily trigger? Well, yes, it will, because it's going to be a brighter blue. It's going to stand out against the sky more during the day. It's going to stand out against the drab colors of buildings more at all times. I think the new look is a better look than the old one. So then the question is, well, was it worth going through a refresh just for that? No, not just for that. I mean, maybe you could, there it might have enough of a mental change that people shop at Walmart more, and even if that only increases a individual's propensity to shop at Walmart by a half of a percent over a lifetime, that could end up in 2, 3, 4 more visits to Walmart. If enough people do that, it could actually end up being a positive economic gain on it. But I think the better result, the bigger result, I think what really makes this a brilliant move, not a crazy one, is people are talking about Walmart. I'm talking about Walmart. I said social media was a buzz with people talking about Walmart. So most of the commentary was that they can't tell the difference or why they waste their money on this, etc. But I think I looked into it. The cost of this brand refresh sat somewhere just over $1 million. Now you might sit there and go, "Oh my God, that's an insane amount of money." Well, it's not in the marketing world. $1 million is pennies within marketing campaigns. In fact, let's see, Walmart marketing budget. Uh, Walmart spends approximately $4.4 billion a year on marketing or on advertising for their digital print and television advertisements. Now, that is a very large number. They're one of the biggest advertisers in the world, and they put, as it over almost $4.5 billion into their annual advertising. So, in the grand scheme of things, as a percentage of that marketing budget, this is a drop in the bucket to spend $1 million on the refresh. And my guess is the social media alone, not to mention the news articles that have been written and everything else. If you look at ad equivalency, which is a bit of an outdated metric that mostly the PR field is very against and for good reason. But if you look at ad equivalency, my guess is the 1.25 million or so they spent on this refresh got them the equivalent of probably $10 million worth of eyes on their brand. That the equivalent of if you were to have put that same money into advertising, doing running a brand campaign. Had they gone and spent $10 million on a brand campaign, they could have gotten probably the same number of eyes as they've gotten on the brand through this refresh. But the difference there is that's just people seeing the brand. Here, people are talking about the brand. And I guarantee you, people are, when they're driving around now, they're going to look at their local Walmart when they pass it to see the updated look. They're going to physically go and say, oh, hey, look, there's the new sign, or oh, hey, look, there's the new logo, there's the new building. Oh, that's color. Oh, gee, that's pretty. That's going to increase their likelihood of shopping at a Walmart. So coming back to this, is it crazy for Walmart to spend $1 million on a brand refresh that looks almost the same as it did before? And my guess is most people, if they were surveyed, couldn't tell you which one was the original necessarily if they had just been tested. I think they're probably going to get a huge return of value on that 1.25 million, well beyond what they would have even gotten with the equivalent spend in advertising because they started conversation. And when you start conversation, you get eyes on your business. People start thinking about it, talking about it. As we all know, this is kind of what branding's all about, is it increases the likelihood of people spending money with your brand. Even if it's not directly like, "Ooh, I am going to go to the Walmart to check out their new brand, and while I'm there, I'll pick up some stuff." It's in the subconscious. People are thinking about Walmart right now, and that's going to make them more likely to go, "Oh, I need to make a Walmart trip this weekend because I need X, Y, and Z." So at the end of the day, the refresh itself, it's minuscule. They they made some colors more vibrant, they modified some fonts, they modified their logo slightly, but I think the genius does lie in the subtlety because one, they're not alienating anyone with this refresh. This is not a brand refresh where people are sitting there go, "Oh my God, Walmart, what were you thinking?" I mean, there's not going to be an outcry. No one is going to be running, you know, um, around getting signatures and doing petitions to get them to revert back because it's a very minor change. Yet that very minor change is creating enough discussion around the brand that I think we're going to see a positive influx for the brand, and they are going to. I said this is going to be one of their best advertising campaigns of the year at probably one of their smallest costs, and it's working on a subconscious level, and that level is people talking about the brand. The brand's now in mind; they're more likely to visit the brand. This isn't an advertising campaign. They didn't do this as it's not something you could go do every year as an advertising campaign. It is a refresh. But the refresh, even though it looks simple, even though it could look stupid, even though people go, "Oh, I can't tell the difference," I would argue it's going to be a resounding success. And it's also a great way to do a refresh. Once again, this was not a rebrand. This was a refresh, a brand refresh. There's a difference. A rebrand, you're trying to change who you are, bring a different look to people. With a refresh, you're just trying to update. And their update, they left the font pretty much alone as they just made it more bold. They just made the colors more vibrant, a little richer, and they tried to make the whole thing a little cleaner, simpler looking. And that is the trend these days. And I think they're going to get more value out of the discussion around this brand refresh than they could have imagined. And I think the refresh itself, the colors being a little more vibrant, being a little more bold, are going to have a subtle impact psychologically as well that's going to overall increase business. So, is it the greatest rebrand or refresh I've ever seen? No. But is it crazy or a failure? Absolutely not. In fact, I think the genius of this refresh does lie in its simplicity, in its sticking to being the same brand they were with just a slight update to make things look a little nicer, and it gets people talking. Love to hear your thoughts on that. So please, feel free to leave a comment. Happy to address any comments that come in. Have a wonderful night. God bless, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.